The railway line from Dereham to Fakenham was opened in 1857, but County School Station was added by the Great Eastern Railway in 1886. Originally slated as the new North Elmham Station, the buildings took the name from the nearby Norfolk County School. This was a private school for the sons of farmers and artisans, which had recently opened on hilly heathland overlooking the Wensum Valley, with the developers offering a large incentive to the railway to provide the station for school traffic. It also served as the junction for the branch line to Aylsham and Wroxham and had a small goods yard that mostly served a local coal yard. The branch line to Wroxham closed in 1952, and under Ernest Marple's campaign to replace railways with roads, passenger services ended altogether in 1964. The railway through the station survived until 1982, serving the large maltings complex at Great Ryborough, after which the track was promptly lifted. An attempt to save the line between Fakenham and the active British Rail Goods branch had been made by the Fakenham and Dereham Railway Society in 1980. Unfortunately, a short deadline to raise the required funds meant that this was unsuccessful. Following on from this, the group had leased the station and yard at Hardingham, which was developed as a small heritage centre. Sadly, income failed to meet rent rates, and when the site was auctioned in 1986, the F&DRS was forced to move to a temporary private location beside Yaxham Station. At this point, membership dropped to around a dozen people, and it seemed likely that the society would collapse. However, a lifeline was offered in 1987 when Breckland District Council purchased the County School Station site and invited the F&DRS to relay track and create an operational railway. This was a lifesaver for the organisation, which quickly began to attract new members, volunteers and rolling stock owners. The original plan was to reconnect to the existing British Rail goods line at North Elm and provide a demonstration line and destination for charter trains using the branch. Almost a mile of track was restored and stock secured for short demonstration rides at County School, but these plans had to be abandoned when British Rail announced the full closure of the line from June 1989. In April 1989, the F&DRS became part of the Mid-Norfolk Railway Society, along with the Wymondham and Dereham Rail Action Committee, who'd been fighting to get the BR passenger service restored since 1974. The new goal was to find a way to save the surviving section of the railway between Wymondham and County School. In 1990, author John Timpson officially reopened County School Station. Breckland District Council joined in the celebrations by launching the first official passenger trains. These trains further boosted the profile of the nascent MNR, attracting more members, volunteers and supporters. Using the work already completed at County School as a proof of concept, an appeal was made to the Secretary of State for Transport, John McGregor, who prevented the line being closed and lifted by British Rail until all options to keep it as an operational railway were concluded. Perhaps haunted by their failure to save the Fakenham section, the MNRS welcomed an approach from a third-party company that expressed an interest in saving the line, operating tourist and regular services over the tracks, and developing a major tourist and commercial attraction at Dereham. To support this venture, the MNRS agreed to become the supporting body for the new Great Eastern Railway 1989 Limited, passing control of County School and many assets to the new organisation. The station's location made it very attractive to filmmakers, even without moving trains. Several films have been shot here, with the most well-known probably being the penultimate episode of the beloved World War II comedy Allo Allo, which featured County School as Garde Nouvion. However, by the early 1990s, the GER announced that they planned to lift the railway between Dereham and Wymondham. This, coupled with other concerns, caused the MNRS to withdraw their support for the GER, leave the County School site, and make their own bid to save the railway. In 1995, the GER went into receivership, and Breckland reclaimed control of County School Station in 1996. In 1998, the MNR were able to reclaim their former base of operations, after signing a tenancy at will with Breckland. The station building had once again been stripped out, was near derelict, and much of the restored track had been removed or was in poor condition. In the following year, the MNR invested £28,000 in restoring the station buildings to LNER condition, tidying the grounds and removing scrap left by the previous lessee. The railway paths were also cleared and upgraded, the station drive resurfaced and the tea room refitted, allowing the site to reopen as a visitor centre. Recognising the investment that the M&R were making in the site, in 2003 Brecklin sold the property to the M&R for a nominal fee, on the condition that it was only used for the aims of the charity and with restrictions on operational use of the railway north of the permanent way hut north of the station, which can only be relayed as an emergency use siding until and unless the line is being restored to Great Ryborough. Luckily, the permissions needed to relay and operate the line between County School and North Elm, where the M&R tracks presently end, was already in place. This means that track laying can resume as soon as the M&R is ready. A condition of this permission is the retention of the paths that we can already provide alongside the railway. This was something we were happy to do, as we already see them as an attraction in their own right. With the railway between Dereham and Wymondham needing a lot of attention prior to reopening in 1999, and with ongoing work being required, including the laying of passing loops, replacement of sidings, restoration of bridges, buildings, level crossings, and the trains that run over our tracks, progress on the section of line north of Dereham was slower than many would hope it would be. However, work progressed steadily, and by 2019, passenger trains could reach the outskirts of North Elm. In 2019, the North Norfolk Model Engineering Club announced that they were looking for a new home for their miniature railway operation. The M&R approached them and offered them land at County School for this, and despite considerable competition from other locations, the NNMEC chose to relocate to County School and develop today's Wensum Valley Miniature Railway. Then, along with the rest of the world, we were hit by the pandemic. This prevented both restoration and maintenance work from being completed. When work resumed, it would soon be discovered that, although it had stopped us from being able to complete routine tasks, COVID had not prevented ongoing degradation of materials, especially the wooden timbers that support the tracks. As a result, the railway's focus had to be concentrated on the core section of line between Dereham and Wymondham. A section of the northern section that runs through deep and damp cutting was also found to require major resleepering. This has become more challenging, as high-quality timber sleepers are now hard to locate due to changes in environmental regulations. This means that the passenger service north of Dereham has had to be suspended until essential works are completed, most likely seeing the affected section relayed with concrete sleepers. The line is, however, still open to railway works vehicles and is being maintained by a dedicated team of members. Although trains don't presently operate into the station platforms, a lot of work has gone into developing displays and building up the catering trade at the site. After many years of volunteer effort, the Mid-Norfolk Railway agreed to employ a part-time member of staff to support the volunteers and ensure that the tea room could open reliably. This resulted in income from the tea room doubling in successive years, and the facility became a profit centre in 2024, bringing in over £18,000 of income, including £5,000 of donations, against a single part-time staff salary. It was planned to use this stability to launch a number of special events this year, further increasing income, but sadly internal factors came into play and this became impossible. After essential repairs to a bridge near Wymondham were completed, the Trust Council authorised the launch of the Back to School campaign, a phased appeal designed to start work on restoring the line between County School and North Elm, in addition to completing essential tasks to prepare County School Station for its resumed operational role. At time of recording, this campaign has raised over £12,000 towards the initial target of £30,000. Work is also underway to find external funding for further restoration work around the site. In 2025, the Wensum Valley Miniature Railway completed their 1/3 of a mile elevated running line, ironically using the same length of railway formation used by the first F&DRS passenger trains in 1989. For the first time in decades, steam whistles and loco horns sounded in this part of the Wensum Valley, and the public were able to enjoy a short ride from this most special location. This marks the start of the next phase in the preservation of the station and section of line. Under the first phase, panels of original Great Eastern track dating from the earliest days of the railway will be relocated and preserved for the future in the bay platform. This platform has no operational use, being only accessible from the northern end, which is constrained by the covenants on the site. However, using this nationally significant material in this area will create an isolated siding that will also be used to house selected display and functional vehicles. The tea room is planned to be relocated from the station into a suitable railway vehicle that will be placed on this siding, out of the way of the future operational tracks. This will result in a larger facility with improved views over the station and the Wensum Valley, can be used in support of a number of events, including theatrical events based on the history of the station and pop-up restaurant evenings. The existing tea room will become a multi-function space that can be used for retail, special events, meetings and displays, with the present kitchen becoming a much-needed staff area. The drainage ditch to the west of the railway will be cleared for the first time since the 1950s, enabling work to begin on restoring the levels of the embankment, which has been eroded by water seepage. The first quarter of a mile track south of the station will be given attention to bring it back to a condition where demonstration movements can occur, ideally using an LNER Wickham's trolley that the MNR have had in store for several decades. It's hoped this will also include the option of passenger rides. The footpath south of the station will also be upgraded, and the fence isolating it from the running line will be completed. This will include bringing the footbridge at the southern end of this section into use, ready for the next phase of track development. In addition to the goals of the Back to School appeal, it's hoped that the Great Eastern Railway hand crane from Watton, presently sat in Dereham Yard, can be brought to County School for proper restoration and display. In the slightly longer term, it's also hoped that both signal boxes can be replaced, with an operational structure planned to be located close to the level crossing and a museum box placed on the locking room at the junction end. If you would like to help with the development of the County School site, donations can be made through the Back to School appeal.